Just take a look, find the truth right between the lines. Read the story in one.
Hi, I'm Michael Schenker. You're watching Morow Radio.
In one, how it all just begun. Well, admit it's one of a kind. Giving protection.
Resurrection is just, it's almost like, because I was away from the machine, from the scene for over 30 years, I did my own little thing, 15 years or 20 years in America and stuff like that. When I was 23 years old, I experienced success to its highest. And I was very grateful for that. And I was able to make a decision if I wanted to stay in that fast lane, successful, under pressure, money-making gobble machine, or if I wanted to have more peace, experiment with music, and learn about life. And so I always say the first stage of my life was I made my unconsciously my musical contribution to the world that impacted generations, became a trend maker. In the middle years, I decided to withdraw from the scene and experiment with music and learn about life. That was most important to me at that point and most rewarding. Because of my middle years, I am where I am today, where I can consciously continue where I stopped when I was 23 years old, after I did Love Drive and opened the doors for the Scorpions for America. That's when I withdrew. I looked for a good singer, but an unknown singer, so I could do things, quietly and experiment, get things out of my system. In 1990, 91, when I moved to Arizona, that's when I went all the way I did acoustic instrumental, electric instrumentals, I did cover versions, I did go to studio playing solos only. I mean, so many weird stuff I have done that I could never have done with a band, And on a personal level, I just learned consistently. I was 90 to 95 was my highest spiritual time in my life, and I had incredible experiences. But it's basically resurrection is a bit more like I'm back and I carry on here. It's almost like, because I was out of the machine, you could always almost say, when you leave the planet and you come back, I left the machine and came back. So resurrection. I continue where I finished 23 when I was 23. Also, resurrection is also connected to having all the band members from the 80s back together. The singers, Graham Bonnet, Robin McCauley, Gary Barden. And the musicians, Chris Glenn and drummer Ted McKenna, and then Steve Mann from the McCauley Schenker group, and Robin McCauley, and so it's like all of it combined. It's like a resurrection kind of a situation. I create songs always the same way since I was, a little boy, and I play and discover. And when I discover something, I put it on the 5 seconds, 10 seconds on a cassette, and put it away. And when it's time to make a record, I'll get it all out. I'll start listening to it. That one. I copy it, and then I get inspired by that piece, and I finish a song. I do that until I have enough material for an album, and then, okay, how are we going to do this? Let's send it out to all the singers and let them pick. Doogie White immediately picked 5 songs. I said, Doogie, sorry, 3. And so, but eventually everybody got their pieces and so on. And the main thing was I wanted to it would have been too clinical or boring if it would be just 3 songs each and that's it, you know. So I thought maybe of at least 3 or 4 songs having everybody sing together. I thought that was exciting, you know. We ended up with 2 songs, but we ended, A Warrior is sung all together, and Supper, Last Supper, is sung to all singers together. But we did a lot of, in different combinations, backing vocals, you know, Gary and Doogie, the band, maybe myself and Gary and Doogie, or you know, like in all different combinations, maybe Robin and Graham and Gary. On different songs, there were different band members singing backing vocals, you know. So we have kind of a nice, everything kind of involved in such a way that, especially when you listen to Warrior, hearing the different singers singing their lines, if you don't have any video footage and you have to guess who is who, it's kind of fun, you know. It's like fun, especially if you have been a fan of that period. And so it's entertaining. I find it very entertaining.
Marching on the path of glory, when misery is all you see.
I did all the music. Yeah, all the music is written by Michael Schenker, and one song is Time Knows When It's Time. I wrote the chorus. You know, Michael Voss, we co-produced, Michael Voss and myself, and he went the extra mile, and we started in June. So it's like we knew we had a schedule to keep, you know, making time schedule to make sure that everything happens, to manage the timing, you know, to make sure you end up when you're supposed to end up with a finished result. When I come to his studio, he does not know what he is going to hear. So I start putting down my first, you know, song to click. I put down the guitars, then I have an idea how the drums should go roughly, if it's a half time, double time, or, so, you know, so the song gets already the skeleton. So the singer hears it the way it's going to be, more or less. So he can, you know, be inspired by the way it's going to be. And, you know, and so when I came down with the riff of Warrior, the next morning Michael Voss says, "Look what I did." And he played me. He's a singer himself, and so he wrote the lyrics and the melody to Warrior. I went like, "Michael, this is fantastic. This is so perfect for all singers together." And that's how that came about. He did the same thing with Last Supper, and he did the same thing. He knew which line would be suitable for which singer, and it just worked out fantastic.
You are lost and lonely.
I stopped listening to music when I was 17, and I stopped copying when I was 17. As a result of that, I became a trend maker. People copied me, and people know what I do, but I don't know what others do. I wasn't born to be a consumer. My focus was the art of lead guitar with pure self-expression. I knew it intuitively when I was 17 years old. I had copied enough. I was inspired enough. Now I wanted to open up myself and show my colors. And instead of copying something that's already out there and be part of a trend and get my share of the trend, you know. So, but I'm not a consumer. I decided I was born to self-express, you know, pure self-expression. The brain is like a sponge. If you listen to music, it absorbs, and you automatically copy. If you want or not, you automatically somehow involve it in something that you thought was yours. And so the more I stay away from it, the purer I could be. That was the idea behind it, and that's where I'm home, you know, that's what I love to do. So as a result of 43 years without focusing or listening to music or being a consumer, obviously the byproduct is you become an original guitar player, because you are only showing up what you have inside yourself, and develop that or keep drawing from the infinite spring of creativity. That is a place that is always fresh. When you decide to share something that only you know, the world will for the first time hear something that comes from only one place where it can come from. Nobody else has got what you have inside yourself. So if the individual decides to share from a pure place, we have a new color added to the world that would otherwise never be known. Because I don't know what's going inside you, you don't know what's going inside me. But if I open up, I can share things that I see or that I feel or how I see it, and I can design something. I can create something. I can draw a picture. If I was a painter, I can copy a picture or I can create one. Yeah, that's the difference.
Like a freedom warrior, here you stand with
People call it practice. I call it play and discover. Play means having fun, enjoying it, and as you play, you discover. And when I discover, it's a bit like treasure hunting. I find a treasure. Wow, this is great. And I record it, put it to the side. And so as you play, you're kind of looking forward for the next treasure, you know. And it just continues like that. It's incredible fun, you know. But practicing is more like, it's maybe less hard. Play and discover, you're fully there. It's a spiritual, you know. It's like you're having fun, it's recreational. It's like you're not looking for something. You're not looking for something particular to be on the radio or to make money or to be the most famous. Play and discover is purely artistic. Obviously, I mean, I play the flying V, but a shape has very little to do with how you play, why you play the way you play. It's all about the person behind the guitar. It's never to do with the guitar. Maybe a guitar can be more suitable in combination with a particular amp, because maybe of the pickup, or maybe because of the wood or whatever it is. I'm not a guitar builder. I just approve things by ear. If it sounds good, let's do it. And so the Flying V, I didn't look for the Flying V. The Flying V came to me. And I was 14 years old when I was having a project in school, a workshop. And the funny thing is, I just only remember that like a couple of years ago, or just recently, that each person had to decide what they wanted to create out of wood. I decided a guitar. But the funny thing was, the guitar I designed was triangle, which was already very close to a Flying V look. But that's, you know, that is just something that happened. And then when I was 16 or 17, out of circumstances, I ended up with a Flying V. I broke a string. I needed another guitar to play quickly because a solo was coming up. And I ended up with a Flying V. And that, that combined with my amplifier, plus the guitar was lighter than the Les Paul I was playing. You know? And so anyway, all around, it was suitable to me. I immediately developed a technique with that guitar by putting it between my legs, and also I had much control. I was able to do special vibrato and to, you know, bend the string because I had that locked in here. The guitar was stable, you know what I mean? And so I developed some kind of a strange positioning and everything. You know, people might think I worked it all out, but it's all based on circumstances. It just happened. It just happened without thinking, you know, and all of a sudden, and then I had a black guitar and a white guitar, and they both sounded great, you know, and I was you know, or maybe I had a black outfit on, or maybe the white guitar is good. One day I decided, let's make a black and white guitar. And then that marked the era of my second part of my life, you know, MSG, Michael Schenker group.
you stand with no fear.
You know, my whole journey is a happy journey, the bad and the good, because I know that my middle years are the most rewarding because of all the freedom I had with experimenting with music, and also what I learned about life in my middle years is just, you cannot pay money for it. It's the most rewarding. And, you know, I look at my life as a journey that, and I, you know, it's just somehow, I'm a positive person, and I look at crisis as a teacher, as a helper. You know, it's a bit like if you want to create muscles, you need a tool to exercise with. Crises are tools to exercise with that will, you know what people say, if it didn't kill you, it made you stronger. That is the type of thing. And so for me, life is about that. You go through life, if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. The longer you live, the stronger you get. In my journey.